Hi, everybody. Feel free to say hi as you're coming on.
Hi, Essence and everyone. This is Velvet, and this is my first time joining. Just wanted to say hello and send positive energy.
Hold on. I can't hear you. Okay. Hold on. I'm sorry. Can you repeat what you said?
Oh, hold on one second. I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay now?
I can, yes.
Okay, so hello, Essence. This is Velvet. This is my first time joining, so I just wanted to send positive vibrations and say hello to everyone, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, welcome, Velvet. Happy you're able to make it on live. Thank you for the good vibes. Hey,
You're very
Ingrid.
welcome.
Ingrid, thank you're under your name today.
Yeah, what happened?
Oh, you mean you didn't do anything different?
No.
Wow.
No, it just I downloaded Zoom, so I
Oh,
guess once I downloaded it, I didn't have to go through the internet or whatever. So
gotcha.
it recognized me finally. I'm important now.
So I'm gonna call on you later in case you want to share something about what you sent me.
Okay. I think it was pretty good. So
Okay.
I'm at the front of the class.
Okay. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, everybody, welcome. I turn that off. Give me 1 second. Mute. Oh, there we go. Okay. Everybody, welcome. I have my goddess cards today. So I'm going to pull one now, and then if you stay till the end and want me to pull a goddess card for you, feel free. And I also have my other cards here from last week if anybody wants one of those, anybody that was here. But let's just see what our message is for the collective here while we give people a few more minutes to hop on. What do we all need to know? Cut the deck, and the first card is Rhiannon, Sorceress. You are a magical person who can manifest your clear intentions into reality. Okay. And what's sticking out for me right now to share is that word clear intentions. Because a lot of times we think we're clear, but we're not. So for instance, I posted in this group, I said, what is the number one trait you're looking for in a partner? And people just had these vague answers. For instance, one guy said that she has the same, that she has good values. And so you might think that's clear, but that's not, because good is subjective. What's good to me may not be to you, right? So I was asking people to be more specific. Somebody who treats me nice. Well, what does that look like to you? And so just remember, when you're setting your intentions, ask, is this as clear as it could be? Could I get even more specific? So that is one of the things that can block our manifestation, is just not being clear enough. Even just saying, I want a partner, I want a man, I want a relationship, that is not very specific for the universe. So just remember that you are a sorceress and that you can manifest your clear intention. All right. So at the end, if you want me to pull a goddess card for you, see what your message is. You might want to even look into that specific goddess that comes up for you, and see how you can connect with her through ritual. All right. So we are going to. Somebody is muted. Bear with me just 1 second, trying to figure this out. Okay, I think we are good. So on here, if you feel free to get on camera at any time, at the end there'll be a Q&A. If you want to ask any questions, you can come on the mic, you can type. So that is up to you, but I'll let you know when that time comes. As I am teaching, you are more than welcome to drop a comment or a question in the chat, and I will answer it. I have my other computer up here, so I can keep an eye on that when I'm going through my presentation. Okay. So to get started, what we're going to do, what I always do, is I'll read an invocation or some type of prayer to get us started, just to connect our energy with spirit. And I'm going to read this, and then at the end, I'm going to ask you what positive energy you are bringing to this class tonight, to this circle. Okay? So to start, we're in the energy of the new moon. The new moon is in a couple days, and you can harness the new moon energy for setting intentions 3 days before the new moon and 3 days after. So we are right in that before phase. So this is a good time to set intentions. So I am going to read this. I want you to go ahead and just close your eyes. Look at this as a moment to just connect inward, to have a little meditation with yourself, to just focus on your breath, because we do not do this enough. Most of us, don't do this enough. So I want to provide moments here throughout where we're just connecting inward. So go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep breath in and exhale. Another breath in and exhale. One more time in and exhale. O moon, as you are hiding tonight beneath the thin veil of the skies, biding your time, I sit in anticipation of your radiant beauty. Soon you will reveal your silvery silhouette once again, mesmerizing all and enchanting the world. O goddess of the skies, on this magical night, I sit with you in quiet, gathering my thoughts and reflecting on all that I desire. With your rebirth, I wish to reawaken old promises and bring forth new dreams. I wish to plant new seeds in the garden of my life and watch them bloom into a bed of magical colors. As I walk toward your new cycle, I honor my spirit and body, embracing the gift of breath and the covenant of truth. I pray to live a richer life, one of love, laughter, and faith, one of wisdom, service, compassion, and good health. I pray for my soul to know its calling, its yearning, its truth, always as I connect deeper with spirit. O enchantress of the skies, I surrender to you as I walk toward a life blessed with grace, with newfound hope in my heart. I sit with you, embracing this beauty all around me, honoring the silent quiet of my mind, the joy of my heart, and the breath of creation itself. And so it is. My name is Essence, and I am bringing compassion tonight. So just type your name and what you're bringing in to the chat for me. Guest says self-healing. Thank you. Lauren says stillness. Ingrid says support and comfort. Thank you. Keep putting them in. I'm just getting set up here. What do we have here? Tamika says, I bring peace. Erica, bringing healing. Steph, willingness to change my perspective. Yes. Melanie, good health. Yes. Thank you. Joa, love and gratitude. Yes. Awesome. And y'all did not tell me I had my slides backwards yesterday. I had the presenter view on the main screen. When I was looking back at the replay, I noticed that. I'm like, nobody told me. Lori, you're bringing self-healing. Welcome. Thank you. All right. Okay, so we are here for part 2 of healing your inner child and mother and father wound. For those of you who don't know me, I am Essence Turner, and I am an energy healer and a radical forgiveness coach, a Reiki practitioner, and a circle facilitator. And I feel it's my mission to help women heal their blocks and open their heart to love through radical forgiveness and through healing their mother and father wounds and through healing their inner child, because that was my journey, not just to having a wonderful relationship, but just becoming a better version of me. In the past, I had a very toxic relationship with myself, toxic relationship with men, and I just didn't know how I was going to move through all that. And especially just feeling like I was who I was. Like, there, you know how they say people can't change. And so I just felt like the woman that I was, that I didn't like, that didn't look like she had a future, that didn't look like she was ever going to have love. Like, I thought I was just stuck there until I started doing this inner work. And then everything changed. Just like a huge transformation, finally becoming that butterfly. And so it is very important for me to show up and share with you on your journey of transformation, healing, and opening your heart to love. So this year, since December, I've been doing monthly talks. This is the 3rd one this month. We'll have another one this month, and then I'll put out a schedule for February. So I am just going to continue to show up. That's one of the things I'm working on, is consistency. At least 2 to 3 times a month, making sure I am showing up, giving you valuable information to help you on your life journey. And I appreciate you all for being here and trusting me to give and share my wisdom with you. Okay, so grab a pen and paper. We're going to go ahead and get started. You're definitely going to need a pen and paper for today. Before we get started, I'm going to just do a brief overview of inner child and mother-father wound, because I know we have some new people on here tonight. So just want to, make sure that we're all on the same page. And so to start, we're going to just define again what is the inner child. And so the inner child is like this energetic, youthful presence that still lives within our body. No, it's not a physical child, but it is the energy of who we once were as a child at every age, actually. So it's not just the 4-year-old or the 5 or 6 or 15. It's all of that energy, all of your past selves, we call as the inner child. And so a lot of us have an angry, sad, frustrated, terrified, some of us, inner child. And when our inner child is still holding on to those low vibrations of fear and anger, it causes us in our adult life to act out or to even attract things that we are not consciously wanting to attract. But the energy of our inner child is part of our subconscious energy, and that energy is way more stronger than our conscious mind, our everyday thoughts, are the intentions that we're consciously manifesting. If it's not in alignment with how your inner child thinks and believes, then a lot of times what you want does not come into fruition because it doesn't match what she sees as reality or saw or was taught about reality. So if you are like, I want this loving, healthy relationship, and we're going to have open, honest communication. But if that's not what she witnessed, you are more than likely going to attract a relationship that are very familiar to her. So if she witnessed dysfunctional relationships growing up, then that is likely what you are going to attract as an adult until she is healed. And that is healing her helps us get to our true self, which is that light that she is holding. So this picture depicts, the adult self, the inner child, and then our inner light, our true self within that inner child. And that's the work, is to get back to that inner light, peel away, release anything that is covering that light within us so that we can be our true, authentic selves. Okay. And then how does that inner child become wounded, frightened, and afraid? Is through couple ways, but mainly mother and father wound. So that's basically hurt or pain that occurred at the hand of either your mother or your father or both during your younger years. So this can have been because of abuse. It could have been because one of the parents left the household. It could be because parents were arguing all the time. It could be because you were talked down to, criticized. There might have been a lot of pressure to, get good grades or to be perfect, right? All of those things and more create a mother or father wound. And so for me, I had the abandonment wound from my father not being in my life. He was an absentee father, as well as from my mother, because she, I think about the age of 6, she went to work, and then I felt abandoned as a kid, not really thinking about, okay, well, she had to go to, work to pay the bills. Like, that doesn't matter to a child. What matters is, where's my mom? Like, she used to be here with me all the time, and now she's not. And I made it mean that I was unlovable, the same thing that I made it mean that my dad was not in my life, that I was unlovable. And that was part of the belief system that I carried for years, and that ruined, well, not even ruined, but that like attracted toxic relationships into my life because I believed I was unlovable. What kind of relationships do you attract when you believe you're unlovable? Not lovable ones, right? Who else has had that belief or has the belief that I'm unlovable? Just put a me in the chat. Okay. And so here are, again, just a few of the things, or several things, that create that wound by mother or father. So being adopted, divorced, feeling rejected, abandoned, having a parent pass away, move away, any type of physical, sexual abuse, right? Sibling rivalry, not feeling protected by your parents from siblings, if there was any cheating or betrayal that happened in your parents' relationships. So just look through here, and you might Notice something that jumps out for you? And then for some others, their inner child wound may not come from the parent. It may come from somebody outside of the house. It could have been at school, at church, your school being bullied, or a teacher, I don't know, maybe singling you out, making you read and you didn't feel confident reading. Again, your siblings. Like, so, oh, your inner child can be wounded outside of the home as well, and especially if there was any type of abuse from someone other than your family members. I'm sorry, other than your parents. All of that creates a inner child wound, which I call the foundation wound, because it's what's, I'm sorry, my hyphen came out of here, but that's supposed to be from 0 to 18. So ages 0 to 18, when your foundation of who you are and what the world is like and looks like, those are the foundational years, and any type of hurt, pain, or trauma you experience will cause pain and wounding to your inner child. So for those of you who were not on here last week, we went a little bit more in depth into this and having a deeper understanding around some of the relationships that you might be attracting in your life may be based on something you heard, saw, or witnessed as a child. And your inner child, like what we learn from ages 0 to about 9 or 10, forms our worldview. And if what we learned about relationships was not good, was not healthy from age 0 to 10, then that is what we're likely to manifest, or something very similar to that. Somebody, if you could mute yourself, I don't know who is unmuted. Okay, so 1 second. If somebody just joined, check to make sure you're muted for me. Okay. So what we're going to do today is we are going to take a wounded inner child quiz, and we're going to look at signs of mother or father wound to see which ones you may have. Because what happened is, after our call last week, I had a couple of people email me and saying, well, what if I'm not sure? Or what do you think does this mean I have an inner child wound? Or we also had a woman on here saying that I don't have many memories of my childhood, so how do I really know? And if you're in a place where you don't really know, then you're probably not really going to take the time to do the work that actually needs, take the time to do the work that really needs to be done. So I wanted to present you with this quiz so you have time to answer it, as well as you may know something's going on, but you don't really know where to start. And we can start with the symptoms, because the symptoms lead to clues. So for instance, if a symptom is attracting emotionally unavailable men, right? So we can see that that's something that's going on in our present everyday lives. From there, we can kind of trace it back. So symptoms are going to equal your current behaviors, like maybe putting people before you, taking care of others before you take care of yourself. That's actually a symptom of something deeper. So if we can start becoming hyper aware of some of our own behaviors, it can actually lead us back to the root of what thought, what belief, what did I learn, what was said to me that would cause me to behave this way, that would cause me to think this way. Right? Even looking at people at your job, if people are always mean and rude to you, that is another sign or symptom that you can trace back. Okay, when did this start? Or what might I have to believe about myself for people to show up in my life like this? Does this make sense to you? Looking at symptoms and those being able to go from there back to a root. And it may take some time, but it'll give you an idea. So for me, I went to the doctor today. Well, I went a couple weeks ago, and what I said was I'm always tired and I have low energy. I said maybe my B12 is low or maybe it's iron. Like I just knew it was one of those two things. But we started with my symptoms, and based on what I told her, she was able to say, okay, based on those symptoms, we can run these types of tests and get to the root. And so it was neither one of those things. I actually am very, very, very deficient in vitamin D. Never thought of it, never came to my mind. Intuition didn't tell me that, right? So a lot of times we think we know what's going on, but we really don't. And that's why you sometimes have to reach out and get help with things because you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know, right? So looking at the symptoms can help you get to the root of the problem. Does that make sense? Nobody is saying it makes sense. So let me know if I could be a little bit more clear. Okay, totally and yes. Okay, so 3 people, 4 people saying it makes sense. So I feel, okay, so I think I'm good. Okay, so on here, I have how I want you to do your paper. So go ahead and fold it in 3 or make 2 lines so that you have 3 columns. Column 1, label it at the top, inner child. Column 2 at the top, mother wound. Column 3, father wound. And then just label one side. It took out my dash, but 1 through 22. So 1 through 22. So go ahead and number it. I'm going to take a drink of water while you get your paper together. Okay, so I'm trusting that you're getting your paper together. And so basically, those of you who were with me in the reflection masterclass, we talked about just being like a scientist. So as you observe your answers, listen to the questions, your job is not to judge yourself. This is not about saying, oh, I'm so jacked up or I got a lot going on. What's wrong with me? No, this is like, okay, this is the data here that I'm looking at. Now, okay, what do I need to do to move forward? So that's the mindset that I want you to take while looking at this, and be completely honest with your answers. Self-honesty is extremely important in healing because what you are in denial about, you can't do anything about, right? So is everybody ready to get started? Before I go to the next slide with the questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read each one. And you can look at the screen too, but I really want you to just kind of stay in your heart space and just listen and just let your intuition give you a yes or no. So as I say number 1 and read the question, you're just going to write a Y for yes or N for no based on your intuitive knowing, based on, you know, who you are and your behaviors. You're just going to be honest and no judgment about it. So if you would just go ahead and close your eyes just for one quick moment, take a deep breath in and exhale. One more breath in and exhale. All right, and I'm going to get started. 1, yes or no? It's hard for me to get mad, but when I do, it comes out as rage. 2, I hardly ever express unpleasant emotions. I just stuff them down. 3, I experience anxiety and fear when I think of doing new things. 4, I'm a people pleaser and feel like I don't have a sense of self. 5, drama and conflict make me feel alive. 6, if I'm honest, deep down, I feel like there's something wrong with me. 7, I feel inadequate as a woman. 8, the guilt of standing up for myself is too much, so I often give in. 9, I'm my worst critic and I beat up on myself often. 10, I feel like I never get things right and I don't meet others' standards. 11, I feel like I matter in sexual relationships. If I'm not having sex, then I won't matter to them. 12, my life feels empty and I often feel depressed. 13, I lean on others to know what to think and do. I don't really have a sense of self. 14, I never felt close to one or both of my parents. 15, I'm a natural caretaker and I find it easier to take care of others and ignore my own self-care. 16, I beat myself up if I make a mistake and I do the same to others, even if it's behind their backs. 17, I'm highly competitive and a poor loser. 18, one of my biggest fears is abandonment, and I'll do anything to hold on to a relationship. 19, abandonment is one of my biggest fears, and I'm usually the one to walk away first or sabotage the relationship. 20, I hate being alone, and I'll do almost anything to avoid it. 21, I find myself doing what I think others expect of me instead of just being me. 22, I feel it's my responsibility to help or fix others. It's easier than being concerned with myself. All right, so go ahead and count up how many yeses you have and just write it at the bottom of your paper in that column. I would feel free to type it in the chat how many yeses you have. This helps people to feel like, they're not alone. A lot of us, we feel like we're the only ones going through what we're going through. What if there was one we couldn't make a decision on? Tell me what number that was. Number 15. You know what? It's hard for me to know what number because I can't see your name. Do a hashtag number sign so I know you're meaning number, whatever the question number was. So LaQuandria is saying 16. Lauren is saying 11. This first guess is saying 18. Next guess is saying 15. So 2 15s. Okay, number 18. So close your eyes for me. I'm going to read number 18 again and just trust whatever the answer is that comes to mind. Yes, yes or no. Take a deep breath in and exhale. One of my biggest fears is abandonment, and I'll do anything to hold on to a relationship. Right? So just think, you can even think about in the past, in order to avoid being alone or feeling abandoned, have you stayed and you probably know you should have walked away or left? Lori, 21. See, this is good, you guys. Who is anybody feeling like bad or guilty, uneasy as you're looking at your yeses? $15 yeses for me. It was higher when I was younger. Yep. So then that means you've been doing some work, which is good. This is good, and this is the way I want you to look at it, is because, oh, Nashara, good, 5, awesome. This is the way I want you to look at it. If you don't know this stuff, if it's just below your awareness, you're just living day to day and going to work and, you know, going out with friends, watching Netflix, you're just living your life, you're not being aware of these things that are going on. And if you're not aware, then you can't make changes. And then your life continues to go in the pattern and the cycles that it's been going on, right? So when we become aware of what's going on and what's inside of us, you can do something about it. And this is how you change the trajectory of who you are and how you're going to show up in this world, as well as the type of relationships that you're able to manifest. So I like to say, congratulate yourself for when you do things like this and bring awareness to what's going on within you. Okay, 14, yes, and was higher when I was younger also. Wonderful. All right, so now we're going to look at the mother wound. And so this is how it shows up in your life and or relationships. So you're looking at your life, everyday life, as well as relationships, okay? So we're in column 2 for mother wounds. Number 1, just write a yes or no. You compare yourself to others. 2, sabotage your happiness and success. 3, little to no boundaries, meaning you have a hard time saying no. Excuse me. 4, you have low self-esteem and you blame yourself often. 5, relationship codependency. So in relationships, either intimate or friendship, or could be with mother, you have a tendency towards being codependent. 6, you're afraid to fully be you. So you kind of hide your light, stay in the background. 7, you have feelings of powerlessness with others. 8, you feel unlovable, not enough, not worthy. 9, you have a mean inner critic. 10, you allow others to control or dictate things for you. 11, feelings of guilt, even when you haven't done anything wrong. Mothers are so good for guilting their children. And then that feeling just sticks with us. And then shame. Shame is when you feel like there's something wrong with who you are. Okay? So count up your mother wounds and put that number into the chat. Guess says 10, Lauren says 9, Nashira 2, LaQuandria 11, Guest 11. Yeah, good. Steph 11. All right. And I'm going to give you a little exercise that you can do to start to trace backwards, right? To get to the root. Melanie 7. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Now we're going to look at the father wound. Lori says 6. I want to think my mom is perfect. I don't like my number. You can still think your mom is perfect, but she didn't go to Harvard Mothering School 101. Right? All of our parents, no matter how good of a job or shitty of a job at that time in the consciousness they were in, you know, they were doing the best that they could. And there's very few people, no matter how perfect their childhood was, there's very few people that escape without some type of wounding from their parents because they just didn't go to parenting school, right? Okay. So she says, okay, thank you. You are very welcome. All right. Now looking at the father wound, number 1, endless, you're on an endless search for love outside of yourself. So you want love and you're always looking out there in the world for somebody to give it to you versus you giving it to yourself. 2, there's a lack of trust with men. Period. Relationship or maybe just men in general. 3, constantly afraid of being abandoned. 4, you attract wounded men, meaning men with emotional issues. 5, you have low self-esteem and low self-worth. 6, you need validation from others. 7, you express rage and anger towards men. So 1 minute everything could be okay, but then when you get angry at them, it just comes out as rage. 8, unwarranted jealousy and or being very overprotective in relationships. 9, you're afraid of commitment, and this could be in relationships, with jobs, contracts, just afraid to commit. 10, you're attracted to older men. 11, sabotage relationships, whether it's intimate or even friendships. Like when you get too close, you just sabotage it to protect yourself. 12, you were promiscuous at some point in time, maybe even as a teenager or maybe now, just giving your body away. 13, you want someone to save you or baby you. So like you look for people to be your dad, basically, to take care of you, to step into that provider role for you instead of you being your own provider. And that could be emotionally or like financially. 15, you tend to date emotionally unavailable men. Or I'm sorry, that was 14. I think I said 15. That was 14. I'm sorry. And then 15, date partners who are physically involved with someone else, meaning they have a girlfriend, they're married, they're seeing somebody, or they're in something complicated. So you tend to attract partners that are involved with someone else in some way. So go ahead and count up your father wounds and put them in the chat for me. Melanie 14, guest 11, guest 12, guest 8. Good. This is really good, ladies. Lori 13. This is really important for me because a lot of these things, to point these out to you, a lot of these things you will just think as normal, like, oh yeah, well, men are just untrustworthy, so I don't trust them, right? No, that's actually a symptom of something deeper. Oh, well, sometimes I just get mad and rage out. No, that's a symptom of something deeper. So when you become aware of these things, it's like, oh no, that's not normal. Like, everybody doesn't have that thing going on. So I need to see what is going on within me that is causing me to behave, think, or believe in this way. Who's finding this helpful? Just put a me. All right, Ingrid. Ingrid sent this to me, and Ingrid, if you will unmute yourself and tell me, she saw somebody put this on Facebook, and I'll just want to hear what you have to share about this.
Okay, so a friend of mine, she went to school with my son, and she posted this, and I already knew that her and her sister had some issues with their mom. They could never trust their mom. She would always leave them. And she would like verbally abuse them and, those type of things. So growing up, it was like really hard for them.
Mm-hmm.
They had to kind of like look out for each other. The older sister was a few years older than her, so she had to take care of her younger sister. When she posted this, I know that she had just had a baby. Her son is probably about 9-10 months. So when she posted this, I kind of forgot about how her mom treated her, because she is so in love with her son. She takes good care of him, and I know people post certain things on Facebook, but like I said, I know her.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that she's doing a really good job. And she had some really bad things to say, and they were so negative. And I told her, I said, you know what? I know you have really, you have ill feelings about your mom, and you don't really feel good about it, but don't let that power fester in you. Don't give her that power. What you should do is thank her, because in order for her to do that, what she did to you, that only made you the mom that you are, which is a totally different person. You know that you don't want to raise your son like she raised you and your sister. So, instead of hating her, thank her, because now she started the path of you saying, no, I'm not going to be like my mother. I'm not going to treat my child that way. And you have the loving, kindest heart that, anybody that I've ever met. And she was really thankful for that and those encouraging words. But she says that she can look at it in a different light, like, because she really did always hate her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, she kept saying, well, can I talk to you from time to time? I don't mind. Sure, absolutely.
Wow. You are a good friend, Ingrid.
Well, I try.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I thought it would be, because I know that some people have, issues with their mom,
Mm-hmm.
but, like I told her, you don't have to look at it like that. Look at it as the first step of breaking that cycle.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this. This is an experience that a lot of people, a lot of women have had with their mother, like so many women long for that mother-daughter relationship that you see on TV, but that just wasn't the case for a lot of women. And so some women can just, shift their perspective and move on. But for other women, this type of pain from their mother creates such deep hurt within them that it may take a little bit more than just a shift in perspective for them to be a better mother, for them to be a better woman. So some of you on here looking at this and you're not quite ready to let it go. I mean, that's normal to hold on to this pain, to feel like it has damaged you in your life in some ways. But there is freedom on the other side of that, like doing the healing work, being willing to look at this a different way, being willing, at some point, at least saying at some point, I want to forgive my mom. I may not be there yet, but at some point, like that's even just a start of the healing of the mother or father or whoever, is just being able to say, one day I want to be on the other side of this. One day I want to forgive them. One day I want to see, the perfection in what happened to me in my past. That's a start on the forgiveness healing journey. You don't have to jump there now, but just saying those words and setting forth that intention helps to put things into motion. All right, so you've collected this data, you're looking at everything. So the first step is to know it is not your fault. So what happened to you in the past, what you are aware of, like even some of the maybe bad decisions, I'm doing like this, bad decisions that you've made in your life, like, no, it's not your fault. Some of the things that we have decided on, poor choices we've made, are literally a manifestation of our inner child wounding. So if you look at a person who went through that, it makes sense why I would think this or why I would make that decision. You can start to have a little bit more like gentleness with yourself when you really start to think about how you were raised, some of the things you went through, and like, oh, that makes sense why I would choose that type of partner. So first, stop beating up on yourself and just know it's not your fault. And then letting go of the shoulds. When you're looking back on the past and how you were raised, let go of how it should have been. Because as long as you're saying it should have been like this and they should have did this and mom should have known better, you can never really be free as long as you're holding on to what should have been. And you have to step into reality of what actually happened. And then it is so okay to grieve the life you did have. Like if it wasn't the life you wanted, you can grieve that. You can grieve the life you didn't have, like the life you wish you could have had, the type of mom, the type of dad. You can grieve that. That's okay too. Drop any denial about, parents. Drop any denial of, okay, no, I can't say my mom did this because I love her and I think she's perfect. Well, she can still be perfect, but you have to be honest about some of the things that happen, whether she did it on purpose or unintentionally. That's something I forgot to mention with the mother or father wound. It happens whether what they did was intentional or unintentional. So if your mom forgot to pick you up from school a couple times because she just was so busy with work and the other kids, and she didn't mean to do it on purpose, that still can create a wound of I'm not important or I don't matter, even though she didn't purposely do it. So again, drop any denial. It's not about blaming your parents and staying stuck in blame. It's about telling the truth. That's one of the major steps in healing, is being able to tell the truth. And it has nothing to do with who your parents are or what their intentions were. It's just about how you perceived what happened to you. And then again, being gentle and self-compassionate with yourself as you're looking back over the past, as you're looking at this data. Just be very compassionate and gentle. Look back on that child and your child self and what you went through, knowing she is still in there and just be gentle and compassionate with yourself for what you went through and what you're realizing right now. And then become curious about this data. I'm talking about that in just a second. So becoming curious, not being fixated on one particular thing, like, oh, I always beat up on myself. There's just, I don't know why I'm so mean to myself, and, just get stuck in that downward spiral. Become curious about it. And we'll talk about it in just a second. And then another way to heal and release everything is to forgive yourself and others. And so we're going to talk more about forgiveness next week. We were supposed to this week, but I needed you guys to see the symptoms so that you can actually know where some forgiveness needs to happen. Looking at the data. So go over what you answered as yes. Again, don't judge, become curious, and then have a self-inquiry session. Self-inquiry is when you're asking yourself some questions. So on the inner child quiz, I just put this here to remind myself to give you an example. So as you're looking at the data, let's say you're looking at your inner child yeses, and I'll send you out the legend in the email tomorrow with the replay. I'll send you out all the questions and signs so you can use that to go back over and look at some of your what you marked as yes. But anyway, number 9 says, I'm my worst critic and I beat up on myself. So become curious, like, okay, why do I beat up on myself? What do I get out of it? How do I feel when I do this? Who taught me to do this? Was anybody else, can't think of the word I'm trying to say. Was anybody else very critical of me growing up? So this is what I mean. Start to ask yourself questions. Don't get so fixated on, oh, look at this. I sure wish this symptom wasn't here. No, ask yourself, why is it here? When did this start appearing? When was the first time that I noticed this? And, step by step, each one just kind of journal and see what comes up. This is how you can start to trace things back. Does that make sense? Any questions on that right now that you want to ask? Somebody can even get on the mic. We can also look at any of them at the Q&A part. But does this self-inquiry, asking yourself questions about the symptoms, make sense? So I'm just looking here in the chat. Oh, this is really helping. I didn't know how to ask these questions before. Yeah, it makes sense because we asked the wrong questions, right? It's, instead of like, why do I beat up on myself? Where did I learn this? We're like, why am I so stupid, right? That's the wrong question. And when you ask that negative question, why am I so stupid? Your mind is going to say, oh, because you didn't this or because that. It's going to give you a list of reasons, which further will make you beat up on yourself. Okay, so this journaling and even maybe looking at it as a friend. So what questions would you ask your friend? Right? So you wouldn't say, why are you so stupid? You wouldn't say that. You would say, well, where do you think this comes from? Did your mom critique you or your dad? So think about it like that. Okay. Anybody have any questions before we move on? Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about forgiveness in just a second, but I wanted to offer you an invitation to have a love block session with me where we uncover your love blocks. And this is a time where you'll get 45 minutes to an hour just solely focused on you. Like, my only priority is on you. We can go over your quiz clues. We in general, when I do these sessions, we also talk about your past relationships, your family dynamics, and we are able then, by doing this uncovery work, to discover what blocks you have and how they are preventing love from showing up in your life, or just preventing you from being the you know you're meant to be. And then also on this call, we'll outline a healing path that's specifically needed for you, because what you may need may be different from what Ingrid needs. So it is important to know what's going on with you and what you need for your healing journey. And then after that, if it's a good fit for both of us, I'll ask you, do you want to hear more about working with me? And it's okay if you don't. These calls that I'm offering, they're no pressure. I'm going to serve you and be there for you, whether you sign up with me or not, just like how I showed up to serve you today. So if you feel like you need someone to talk to, you want to go deeper and do more discovery work, I would love for you to hop on a clarity session with me. And this is for if I've never had a call with you before, let's jump on and see what's going on within you and how we can get you set up, clearing these blocks and opening your heart to love, or just opening your heart and stepping into the woman you know you're meant to be. And then if you book in the next 24 hours, I have a special gift for you, a self-love ritual and masterclass, because one of the things I do a lot of work with my clients on is self-love, because the amount of love you give to yourself, that's the amount of love you're going to be calling in from your partner. The more you love yourself, the more love you're able to receive from your partner. All right, so all you have to do is go to essenceturner.com/schedule. I have some days open next week. I don't know about, I do tomorrow. I don't know if my schedule shows it. If it doesn't, then email me if you want to talk tomorrow. Just reply back to the email I sent you tonight saying we're going live in 15 minutes. And there's also a link in that email to my schedule. All right, so I think that I want to talk about forgiveness a little bit before we do a prayer, okay? So give me 1 second. Anybody have any questions about anything that we've talked about thus far? Okay, so we're going to talk even more about forgiveness, but I wanted to start preparing your mind around forgiveness and understanding what forgiveness is and isn't. So this is more so shifting ideas around these false ideas around forgiveness. So people say forgive and forget. But if you forgive, you don't have to forgive, because some people, one of the reasons they don't want to forgive is because they don't want to forget what happened or what was done to someone they loved, right? You can forgive and still, hold a memory of what happened. But when you hold that memory, there won't be anger and rage or resentment and bitterness behind that memory. It's just going to be a memory. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It's for you. Why? Because if you're holding anger in your body, that's toxic for you, not the other person. Those negative low vibrations of anger, resentment, abandonment, rejection, they only block you from getting what you want. They don't block the other person. So forgiveness is about you and releasing all of that toxic, negative, low vibrational energy so you can be at peace, have freedom, and call in the things you want into your life. And forgiveness is not saying the words out loud like, yeah, I'll forgive you, but then secretly still harboring anger, bitterness, and resentment. That's not forgiveness. When you reach a true place of forgiveness, there is peace behind what happened. There is acceptance behind what happened. And it's also, that's the next one. Forgiveness Forgiveness happens in an instant for some, but for most, it's a process. So it can start with just saying the words, I forgive, or I'm ready to forgive. But if that anger or resentment is still there, then there may be a process that you may need to go through to drop the anger, to drop the resentment and sadness, right? It can't be just a snap of the finger where somebody says, you need to forgive, or, you're not getting into heaven. Like, I've heard somebody say that before to someone. Not always will it happen just in an instant. As soon as somebody tells you forgive, you actually experience forgiveness. Doesn't work like that. And forgiveness does not mean you have to reconcile. So some people think, well, I don't want to forgive this person because I don't want to let them back in my life, especially if it's a family member. You can forgive someone and never see or speak to them again. Like, they're separate, right? Forgiveness is between you and God. And so you don't have to tell the person or contact them in any way. So always remember that it's not about the other person. It is something very sacred and spiritual. And you don't call and say, Mom, I'm working on forgiveness with you. It's none of their business between you and God and me, if I'm your coach. Okay. You don't have to forgive on your own. So if you're having a tough time letting go, like, there are people like me and others that specialize in this. This isn't always easy, like letting go, because your mind wants to hold on. Your mind is like a dog on a bone, and it's like, and you're like, no, I want to let it go. But that mind is like, no, I got to keep telling the story. I got to keep holding on. So you may need some help getting that, like, unclenched, right? From your brain's teeth. It's totally normal. A lot of people need help with it. Forgiveness is not excusing. So some people don't, if I forgive, then that means what they did is okay. That is not what it means. It means that you are in acceptance, and you can say, yeah, that happened to me. There's a lot of healing that can come just from saying that happened, instead of living in the shoulds and what should have happened and could have happened and what didn't. Just being in a place of accepting reality because it happened. Waiting to feel like forgiving may take forever. So, like, I'm going to forgive when that feeling hits me. It may never hit you, right? But it's a decision of the will. Like, I don't want to hold on to this anymore. It's not good for me. It's blocking things for me. So I'm making a decision to get some help with forgiveness, or to start forgiving. Like, I'm making a decision. You're not sitting back waiting. Like, that's like waiting to want to go to the gym. No, if you make a decision and it's on the calendar, you go and do it. You use your will to get up and make it happen. Because waiting to go, for most of us, is not going to happen. Next, what if they don't deserve forgiveness? And so if you ask yourself that question, then ask yourself this one as well. Do I deserve to be freed or imprisoned because of their wrongdoing? So when you think someone doesn't deserve forgiveness and you don't forgive, you're just imprisoning yourself, and you're locking yourself into that moment of time. It's your mind that's going to keep rethinking it, or thinking it once or twice a week. Right? Again, they're living their life. They're doing them. You don't deserve to be imprisoned in that moment in time, whether it was a childhood, whether it was with an ex, whoever did that to you. Forgiveness frees you from that loop of thought, from those negative emotions. And then lastly, waiting until you get an apology in order to forgive. That's another thing you could possibly be waiting on forever. You don't wait till you get an apology. You forgive because you say, I don't want to hold on to this anymore. That holding on to that is toxic for me. Holding on to this is blocking me from things. And then you have to remember, everybody has their own perspectives and their own memories, and people remember things differently, see things differently. So some people don't even know that they owe you an apology. Some parents don't feel like they owe you an apology, because like their idea was I kept a roof over their head, made sure they had food, and they went to school. Like I did my job. Like there's literally parents that think like that. So what other things that they did to you, they don't see it as doing wrong because they did the top 3 things. Right? So you don't wait around. You just know that carrying things are weighing you down, making you feel depressed, sad for no reason, keeping love out of your life, keeping you from being fully you. And you don't want that anymore. So you step into forgiveness, or at least start the process of it. All right, everybody. Anybody have any questions? Well, let's hold the questions. Let's go ahead and do our prayer. And I call it a prayer, but it is really what I said last week. Is Spirit said to me, again, that we don't spend enough time going inward. So it's a practice. It's something you have to learn to do. It's something that I've taught myself, and I try to do 20-30 minutes a day of prayer meditation, just closing my eyes and going inward. So no, we're not going inward for 20-30 minutes, but I still just want to bring moments where I'm asking you to close your eyes and just breathe, and then just listen to the words that I'm saying. And then when you, especially if it's a prayer, it is okay to talk about what is hurting you, what is frustrating you, and how you want answers, right? It's okay. You don't have to just go to your altar in full gratitude and happiness. Like, no, you can have that relationship with Spirit, with the universe, to where you can voice your hurts and your pains. And these prayers that I share, they like walk us through the process. Okay? So go ahead and close your eyes for me and take a deep breath in and exhale. One more breath in and exhale. Dear Spirit, sometimes I sit in turmoil, in anguish, for my heart and mind are sometimes filled with regret about things I cannot change, about things I cannot undo. I am sometimes tormented by the questions, the doubts that race through my mind and create unrest within me. I know I cannot turn back the hands of time. I know I cannot change my actions or choices. And yet, these thoughts whirl in my mind and heart. Oh, Spirit, I do not wish to judge myself. I do not wish to feel anger or guilt about what has been. I wish to be free, free from my expectations, free from my harsh judgments and blame, and free from regret. I turn to you, O God. Please show me the way to healing. Guide me to this and help me release this pain. Help me understand that I need not suffer like this, that I can forgive myself for that which I wish were different. Help me wash away my guilt, relinquish my self-doubt, and accept that which has been, so I may reach a place of peace within me. O Spirit, help me remember that there is wisdom to the divine design, and that I must trust that I have always been guided. I will honor my path. I will trust the hands of the universe and the angels who have led me each day. As I sit with you, Spirit, I know I will find new hope I will find my peace, and through this, I will journey to a place of acceptance, of clarity, and newfound calm. I know I will heal. I trust this. Your will I embrace. And so it is. Mm. Who liked that prayer? I'm going to let my desk down. That's what that noise is. Yeah, it was really good. All right. So I want to hear from a couple of you and just like sharing with the group, maybe come on the mic, take 2 or 3 minutes and, please send that tomorrow too. Sure. Take 2 or 3 minutes and I want to hear what is your takeaway? Like, what did you learn? What are you taking away from here tonight? So who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Okay.
This is Velvet, and I'm showing up as one of the guests.
Okay.
I appreciate you like so much. I've been doing work for a long time, and interesting enough, it was revealed to me tonight by way of you that what I'm dealing with now in my walk or my journey is father issues and not so much my mother issues.
Okay.
I was very surprised to see that I had one yes for my, under my mom, 11 no's, but with my father, I had 8 yeses and 7 no's.
Wow.
So that was very profound to me, being the father, a daddy's girl, and my parents splitting when I was like 9 years old. So I blamed my mom a lot, but I forgave her along the journey. So here I sit today and I'm like, wow, this is very interesting. Wow. And the way it shows up in my life, with the abandonment because of the separation of the two. And I can go on, but I just wanted to share that. And I do appreciate you.
You are very welcome, and I really appreciate you sharing that. And again, it just points out to how we think we know what's going on a lot of times, and we don't. I'm really glad that you have this moment of revelation and insight, so you kind of know where you need to start doing some work, and just know I'm here as a resource.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who else would like to share? Anybody?
I will go. This is LaQuandra.
Okay, thanks. Hi, LaQuandra.
Hi, and hey everybody else. The thing I gathered from tonight is that a lot of the issues that I have right now or things that I'm displeased with are actually things that I haven't healed from my childhood. And I would say that like biologically I'm 37, but it seems like maybe it's still that inner child that acts out and responds to certain things. And that's why a lot of times the response is inappropriate or maybe questionable and things like that. And my mother is deceased. So when I got this 11 for a mother womb, I was like, no, that can't be true because I can't be upset or I can't be blaming my mom for a lot of things or, because she's deceased. So it has to be that she did everything right and that's that. But that's not necessarily true. So it's going to be a little challenging to actually be honest about certain things on here and deal with them, but I'm ready to do it all.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And just know that, yeah, that is actually a place that it's hard when a parent has passed away. It's hard for many people to get honest because they feel like they're like harming their parents' memory or dishonoring their parents' memory. And what I'll tell my clients is it's actually one of the most healing things that you can do, because there's still like, if think about like energy connecting you or cords connecting you even still to your mom in the unseen realm. So there's still some discord, there's still some negative energy because of what your inner child is going on, from what your inner child experienced. So by you being honest and doing the healing work that actually cleans that connection to you and your mom in the unseen realm. So it's one of the best things that you can do is be honest and open and get it all out, so that that connection is just pure love, clear, clean.
Yes. Thank you.
You're very welcome. That reminds me that I wanted to tell you guys a story. So when I met my boyfriend and we started our relationship almost 6 years ago, I was just in the midst of doing all of my healing work. And it probably had been maybe till I started doing the deeper work, I would say maybe just about 2 years in, still a lot to do. But I remember this one time I was sitting at his house and he was on the computer. He is in IT and he's always on the computer. And I was like, a thought came in my mind, was like, I'm not speaking to him today. I'm just going to sit here and I'm not going to say nothing to him. And then I was like, oh my God, where did that thought come from? Like I became aware of it. And I was like, oh my God, that's my inner child, like doing like this because he's on the computer and not like paying attention to me. Well, we weren't like brand new in our relationship where as soon as I come over, you got to get off the computer or anything like that. But I just was like, in my mind, it made sense that no, I'm just gonna ignore him and be mean to him since he is on the computer and not paying me all of the attention. And then what I said to myself was, I'm the one that needs to give myself the attention. I'm also not giving my inner child attention. And if she's feeling neglected, it's because I'm neglecting her, not him. And then that said to me, okay, I got to start spending more time with myself. I got to do inner child work. I got to start, she likes cupcakes. Maybe go get some cupcakes, like taking care of me, because it's not his job to take care of my inner child. It's my job. And so these things just happen where we act out and we're not even realizing we're acting out from a childish place. That was very childish to say, well, I'm not going to speak to him. Instead of saying, if it was really true, like, I want you to get off the computer and spend some time with me. Like, that's the emotionally mature response, not just shutting down. Okay. So I think it's really important to start getting clear. I mean, start being honest about some of the ways that you behave and participate in relationships and see which space it's coming from. Is it coming from being an emotional adult or is it coming from being the emotional child? Steph says, I never saw abandonment issues before, and tonight it just popped up as if it should have been obvious all along. Just another layer of the onion. Absolutely. You already know that's how it works. You feel something and something else, like that Jack in the Box, like, I'm here, me next. For years, I wondered what the problem was. It's just now working with you that is showing me the truth. Lori, yeah. Yep. Yeah. And it is a pleasure being able to hold the space for you to step into your truth. So thank you. Anybody else want to come on the mic and share any insights? This is really helpful for other people and yourself. Ingrid, you're just gonna be quiet?
Now I got to give everybody else a chance.
Oh no. Okay. Well, what we're going to do, we'll go ahead and we're going to close the class. What we're going to do, I'm going to stay behind and pull
Can I say
cards.
something really fast?
I'm sorry.
Can I say something really fast?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So when we did the question, the all the questions about inner child, mother womb, father womb, I felt kind of out of place because I only had a few yeses, which is an achievement for me. That's
Okay.
a great achievement for me because some of them I could see myself before saying yes to a lot of them.
Okay.
So I've been doing a lot of work and it's paying off. I can see that. But the few yeses that I did have, how do we work on those? Like I know one of the yeses is being attracted to older men.
Well, okay, so the first thing is to, like, again, it goes back to the questions. Why? You know, because you got to get clear on that. Now, you had your dad in your life. So could you just be attracted to older men just because you're attracted to older men? Or are you like me? I was attracted to older men because of, like, unconsciously, he was a father figure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with your yeses is like asking those questions. That's like the first step. It's like seeing why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you feel, I'm just curious. Now I'm just want to know. Do you feel like it's because of any, like, daddy issue related, or you just like older men?
I just like older men.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It's just the attraction to them. I mean, they can't be too old now. The older I get, the older they seem to get. And I'm like, hold up. But for some reason, I'm just stuck on. I don't know. I like the maturity of them, and I like, you know, their level of thinking. I can more relate to them as opposed to somebody's that's my age or a little younger. It's like, come on, we've been there, and it's just not, attractive to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so just, take it to the altar, go a little bit deeper just to make sure. Yeah, that's because for me, one of the things, the signs of the father wound in dating older men, it is usually based on, like, looking for somebody to take care of you, to be your, to provide for you.
Oh, that would be nice, but.
And so for me, that definitely was the case. Like, I was literally looking for a man to take care of me, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with that mentality. But what was wrong with it was thinking I couldn't take care of myself, and then that's why I needed him to take care of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What about if you get tired of taking care of yourself? I need a break. Can I just have a break for a minute? Somebody step in and say, "Hey, I got you."
No, because look, you're wanting to step away from yourself. You're wanting to run away from yourself. You can't expect somebody to run towards you when you're running away from yourself.
Right.
So the question is, how can I take care of myself in a way that's not a chore, So
right.
You got to get some things in motion and going to where, like, your needs and being taken care of is like, it's just in a flow. It's just happening. It's not like a thought, like, I got to do this and make sure I this. And you know what I mean? It should just be like, how can you get yourself in an effortless flow around taking care of yourself and it not feeling like a chore?
Okay.
Because when you go into relationships from a place of, like, lack or fear, like, because that's what that energy is, then you might attract the guy who's like, well, yeah, I just want somebody who got a house, right? So now you want somebody to take care of you, and he just wants somebody who, he got a house. So y'all not really together for pure love, it's because of some kind of convenience.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I get it. You're the cold cracker, girl. I know it.
All right. Melanie, I was the opposite. I like them younger. And this, gotta leave, much blessings. Thank you, Melanie, for being here. I went through my young man phase too, but I couldn't do it for long. All right, so what we're gonna do now, that was so helpful. I think you've done a lot of running. I think I've done a lot of running away from myself. Yeah. I mean, nobody really teaches us how to like stick it out for ourselves. We want to put it on other people, and it makes sense because we have parents taking care of us, right? So just want somebody else to do it is way more easier. And another thing is like thinking about wanting someone who is emotionally available and who is there for you. Well, it's not fair to expect somebody to be there emotionally for you and to just be there when you're not there for yourself. You're not willing to face your emotions. You're not willing to feel your emotions. You're not willing to be honest. You can't expect to attract an emotionally available partner when you're not emotionally available to feel, to know how you're feeling, to sit with your feelings, right? So that's something I want you ladies to think about too, and that I had to get really good with being in my feelings and sitting with my feelings, because that was very important for me to have, was a emotionally intimate relationship. And I absolutely have that 100%. We can have deep talks. I can share my fears. He shares his fears. We're able to just talk in a way like I was like used to be so self-conscious about who I was and sharing deep stuff and my fears. But like him, I could just go and be naked. You know what I mean? But it had to come from me learning to be open and naked with myself. This was definitely helpful. I've been wanting to heal my inner child, but didn't know where to begin. I have a lot to think through at the beginning of this path, at the spot of radical acceptance and stepping out of denial. Absolutely. Congratulations on that. All right, so everybody, what we're gonna do, again, I'm gonna stay behind, answer any more questions, pull cards for you, but we're gonna close the circle by saying your name and then what energy you are taking away tonight. So it'll be like Essence, and I am taking away community. I want everybody here to type your name and the energy or even an idea that you're taking away. Lorena says self-acceptance. Thank you. Velvet, self-love. Lauren, acceptance. Erica, reflection. Yes. Beautiful. Yes. So we are going to be here again, not next Tuesday, but next Sunday, because I have something next Tuesday. So next Sunday is part 3. We're going to go deeper into healing and forgiveness. And I want to give you an exercise that we use in forgiveness to like stop compounding the pain, to like stop adding, to help us become present about what's going on, showing up in our lives, and how do we not go unconscious and go back into like, oh, woe is me, and how we can continue to use what's showing up in our lives as evidence clues to help us become more conscious of what's going on in our lives. Lori, awareness, acceptance. Ingrid, no more running away from me. Yes. Erica, reflection. Yes. Tamika, I am taking away growth. Awesome. Keep it coming, ladies. All right. So anybody feel free to unmute yourself. Nashira, what are you taking away? And feel free to come on the mic. What'd you take away today?
I'll say that work is being done in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I'm taking away, that I'm making progress.
Yeah. Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you. Steph, you here? Do you want a card? Gratitude and okay. What does Stephanie need to know? Can you see? Okay, it says golden opportunity. Important doors are opening for you right now. Walk through them. Okay. Ingrid says she would love. Nashara says a card, please. Oh, and your Steph, this is the name of your goddess. So you can look it up, look up some more. Okay. Steph. Go back. Card. Velvet. Oh, Ingrid. Ingrid's next. Nope, Nashira's next. Okay. Who is Nashira's goddess? Guardian, you and your loved ones are safe and spiritually protected. And this is Artemis. And this card here, when I've gotten it before, I remember reading it and it made more sense. You have a sacred mission to spread love and light, yet this isn't a position that comes from tension or worry. Instead, the gentle essence of a joyful heart and lighthearted laughter sets your power into motion. Why would there be any tension in your mind or system unless you believe that you were somehow unsafe? And how could you be unsafe when you've called upon the spiritual warriors to watch over you? Your prayers have activated the flawless protection of heaven. So ease your mind of all your concerns. All right, so I hope that's helpful, because when I've gotten your loved ones are safe and spiritually protected, I'm like, I need more. Ingrid would love a card. Kali, she's one of my favorite goddesses. Endings and beginnings. The old must be released so that the new can enter.
Doesn't that sound like me?
It sure does. It sure does.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Velvet. Wow, you got the same one. And yes, I shuffled, so it's definitely for you. Kali, endings and beginnings. The old must be released so that the new can enter. And both of you look up Kali.
Would you spell the goddess name, please?
K-A-L-I.
K-A-L-I. Thank you so very much.
You are very welcome. Lauren.
You know what, Essence?
Yeah.
When I went to your first webinar, when I came on here for the first time, you pulled that card. You did say it was your most favorite, and then you explained the goddess, and I'm like, wow, that's when we were doing the attract your call your love in. Man,
okay,
that is so deep.
Yeah, okay. So that was literally almost like a year ago, because that was January.
Yep.
I'm sorry, December of 2018.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, it's pretty much like just a year. So yeah, Kali, if you call on Kali and you believe in working with energies, Kali will help you to like burn things away, but she'll also bring up stuff and show you what does not need to be in your life. So things can kind of get a little, the foundation may shake a little, but it's to clear out the way for something new. So if you, when you call on Kali, be ready, because some things may be shaking up. Who was next? Lauren. Fairness. Mott. And it says the situation will be handled in a fair and just manner. So I don't know what you may be going through, but just trust that it's going to be taken care of. Lori. The arts. Sarasvati. I'm going to spell that. Express yourself through creative activities. I feel that that is really good for you, Lori. Especially in being in the position of wanting to get back to yourself, be who you truly are. Being in that creative space really helps us get into that playful inner child energy, and not that inner child energy of like, you know, what we are very familiar with is the, you know, pain and sadness and anger. But being creative gets us in touch with that playful inner being. Who is next? Was that Lori, Erica? You're welcome, Lori. Erica. Sorceress. Again, that's the one I pulled earlier tonight. And it says, you are a magical person who can manifest your clear intentions into reality. So ask yourself, what is it that you want? And then on the next line, start listing how you can be more clear and specific about what it is that you want. And then the last one is Tamika. I'm sorry, let me do that again. Hold on. Guinevere, true love. The romantic stirrings in your heart have propelled the universe to deliver great love to you. Awesome. All right, ladies. Well, if nobody has any more questions for me, then somebody says, wow. So did your card hit you? Is that what you needed? It's been a pleasure being, where is he? He probably is like, where is she? Right? Sometimes when we're asking that question, where is he? He's out there, he's waiting for you, but you just got to do whatever it is you need to do to be in alignment with him. So you're on this call, I'm guessing, because you know there's some work to do. We'll do that work so that you can be in alignment. One of the things that I'll say is that, like, you know, universe loves your guy too. And so if we're in these places where we're acting out and we're unhealed and we're like an emotional hot mess, why is he going to send us, the universe going to send us our soulmate when we're not ready? We're not being our soulful selves. That's not fair, right? So just because they haven't showed up doesn't mean that they're not out there waiting. Maybe they're, maybe doing their work, right? Or just being patient, waiting on divine timing. But you could be holding things up because you've been in denial. Yeah. All right. Wow. Thank you so much, Essence. This was fantastic. You are so welcome. Again, just know that I am here for you. Book your Uncover Your Love Block session. Let's dive deeper. Let's see what's going on. And then, if you want to do some deeper work, I am here for you. All right, I'll send out the replay and the resources tomorrow. And everybody, you guys have a good night. And I hope to see you guys back here next Sunday. I'll send out the time tomorrow as well. All right, bye. Good night, Ingrid. You are so welcome.